Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys, based on the time zones you all are coming from. Now, before ado, let's get started on our discussion on Power BI. Now, the main motive of this entire session is we'll be discussing on Power BI, on what exactly is Power BI, how Power BI helps in solving different problem statements in terms of data visualization, how to get started, what are different components available in Power BI, what are its advantages, and then we'll be seeing a small hands-on top of Power BI desktop version as well, right? So I'll be showcasing you both the cloud and as well as the desktop version as well on how to get started on working on Power BI. Now, if you have to get started here, first of all, Power BI, as we know, Power BI is what? Power BI is simply a business intelligence tool. Now, when we talk about business intelligence tool, then it is a part of it is a part of data analysis, right? So a simple use case is, let's say Walmart wants to understand its entire sales it has done in last 1 year, right? So based on the first of all, we have to identify the data sets that we have, right? Suppose now Walmart has the access to its data set available in any CRM or any particular or simple Excel file itself, Excel or CC file itself, right? Then we have to choose and identify that particular source. We have to work on simplifying the entire data as well, right? And then we can generate, as a analyst, we have to generate multiple reports so that we can share those reports. We can create the dashboards as well so that we can share these with our stakeholders so that they can have a complete insight on what exactly has happened in the interest area that they are focused on, right? So that we can prepare a final report with them and then we can share it across for a better understanding, and we can pass this on even to the complete analysis team so that they can even have a clear understanding of what has happened on the previously collected data that we have available as a part of Power BI discussion here, right? Now, and basically it is offered as a non-technical business tool here, which is basically suitable for people who are working and analyzing, for who don't have a technical expertise, and those who want to analyze, visualize, and share data without going into much technicality as a part of this entire dashboard offered by Power BI. Just like we have Tableau, same way we have Power BI available for the business intelligence, offered as a main business intelligence tools available. So Power BI has also Power BI has a main computation in the format of Tableau, again being used for the same purpose. So in here we do have multiple components available as a part of Power BI. So here we can generate reports. Here we can generate multi-level reports here. We can generate the reports as a part of pie charts, as a part of bar charts, column chart, line charts, area charts. We have combination charts. We have donut charts, tree map, maps, funnel chart, gauge and cards, and then we have table matrices. So these all different types of reports we can generate as a part of solution offered by Power BI, right? And then we can create the entire interactive dashboard, or we can generate the static reports that can be easily shared with our further analysis team, or it can be shared to our stakeholders as well for a better perspective, so that the entire process of decision making can begin when they have a complete insight available to them as a part of business intelligence, right? And then first of all, here we have the concept of stacked bar or column charts, where we can simply break down and compare parts of the whole data set into different components here. And again, these components can be based on our own interests. Before we move further in discussion on these different types of charts and graphs available, let's first of all see on how exactly we can get started on using Power BI, because again, then we can work on each and every of these charts and columns step by step as we move further into our discussion to Power BI, because the main motive of this entire session is to make it as practically focused as possible, right? And that's why, first of all, let's see how we can get started on using Power BI so that once we have done the entire setup, then we will be coming down to seeing these things in a practical basis. Now, in order to get started, guys, here we can simply go and open up this link here called as powerbi.microsoft.com. And in here, we can choose the type of solution that we are trying to download and install here. Suppose if we want to install this on top of Microsoft on-premise data gateway, or we want to download Microsoft Power BI desktop, we can simply click on download, and then we can choose, and then we can simply open this link up as a part of the link available directly on the Microsoft Store. So this Power BI desktop is available as a link available directly, which we can download from the Microsoft Store that we can use to get started. Or in case we want to use it for the mobile version, we can simply choose the mobile version as well. We can do that, right? Or in here, we can choose this, we can come down to the entire download center. We can choose the Power BI desktop version. We can choose it, and then we can simply click on download to get started with the installation of the downloader package. Now, once we download the entire Power BI desktop version here, and this is the entire dashboard that we will be looking at. This is the entire Power BI desktop version that we have currently already set up and installed, and now we are ready to go and start working on top of it. And if we have some kind of reports also created on top of Power BI, then we do have a Power BI cloud version also available, where we can simply use our reports that we have already generated on top of Power BI, and then we can use and we can work on that project on top of the Power BI cloud version as well. We have the options of doing both, right? So here we can create our own workspace. Here we can start working. Here we can start pulling our own data, and then we can start working on top of it, right? Suppose let's say here we are working on reports here. We can simply import our reports here as well. We can simply click on create. We want to create report, and then here we have to choose the data set, as in which particular data set we want to go ahead and use here. Now we can choose to analyze in Excel, or we can simply go ahead and create a new data set as well. We can do that. So now let's come back to our desktop version, and in here now first of all we do need a sample database. We do need a sample data set in order to get started on seeing the hands-on on top of Power BI, right? So in case you already have some sample data set with us, then we can use that. Or if we want to get started on using some sample data set available from Power BI, then we can go ahead and download multiple samples which are already available in Power BI. So for example, we do get one sample financial reports file available in CSV format that we can use for getting started on learning on top of Power BI. So for example, say we want to download the sample financial workbook for Power BI, then we can simply open up this link here, right? And then we can simply click on sample data, so you can try with Power BI, or we can simply click on financial sample Excel workbook, and we will be able to download one sample workbook that we can use as a report that we can feed in Power BI desktop version. Let me share this link with you all as well. So you can use this link as a reference to get started on working on top of sample data set available on Power BI. All right. Now, once we have the sample dataset with us, now we can simply use this sample financial workbook dataset, and we can pull this up in our Power BI dashboard. Now, before we do that, let's see what exactly this entire dataset contains. So we can open up this financial sample report workbook. Let's open up this workbook here. As you can see, now this is entire sample financial data that we have. Now this data is again a really good data to work on to start learning on top of Power BI, as it contains data for demographics, as in the country data. It contains the data for products, discount, unit sold, manufactured, sale price, gross sales. We have discount percentage, sales, gross sales, profit, date, month number, and then we have the year as well. So we have almost all variety of data that we have that we can work on top of Power BI sample financial workbook dataset. Now let's do one thing. Let's simply pull this entire data set back into our dashboard. So what we can do, we can simply click on File, and now here if we want to import the entire data set here, we can simply start by creating a new project in case we have already been working on the project. Or if you want to import the multiple data sets here, we have what get data, right? So in here we can simply choose the exact source with which we want to get data as in we have to choose our data source, right? Suppose if we have data stored in our Excel sheet, if we have a simple text CSV file here, if we have a simple PDF file, if we have a SQL server, we have a SQL Server database, we have an Oracle database, we have the IBM database, right? We have MySQL database, right? Or if suppose in case of any Power Platform, we want to connect this via some common data science. If we have data stored in Azure platform, right? Then suppose if we have data stored as a part of blob storage, as a part of data warehousing service, Then we can choose these services. We simply have to provide the authentication of the, we can say the authentication details, and then we will be good to go as a part of data integration service offered under Power BI. And suppose if we want to integrate this with multiple all other platforms, for example, let's say here we want to pull data from Dynamics 365. If we want to pull data from Google Analytics, from Adobe Analytics, if we have data set available for our own website, then we can connect these analytical platforms with Power BI there so that we can start receiving their data sets, right? And then we can start pulling their data set back into our analytical dashboard so that we can start generating reports on top of it. We can do that. So in here we have the Excel workbook. So we can choose Excel sheet. We can click on connect, and then we have to choose a source. So this is a financial sample that we have. We can open this up, and this may take a couple of seconds in order to connect. So if we want to import data from Facebook, we can also do that. Let me showcase you that. First of all, here we can choose the sheet that we want to import here. We can simply click on load. Now again, this may take a second for this entire to be reported, but now as you can see, now this data set has been currently imported here. Now if we wish to see the entire reports here, right? So here, as you can see here, we have three tabs, right? First of all, let's have a walkthrough through the entire portal for Power BI as well. So here we have quick access options available that we'll be using for generating and for editing reports. Here we have the report pane, here we have the data pane, and here we have the model pane here, right? So as you can see now, if we move to data pane here, we can see the actual report, or we can see the actual report that we have currently imported. As you can see now, this entire data set has been imported, and now we can start generating reports on top of it. We can start generating reports on top of it. Okay, for getting the Facebook data here, so here we can simply click on get data set again, and in here we can choose the access type if you want to attach it. Now here we have Facebook as a service being available here, right? So you can simply choose Facebook, and then here we have to connect this via third-party APIs. Now in here, suppose if we want to connect to a Facebook data here, we can simply click on continue, and then we simply have to enter our credentials for the Facebook account here, correct? So here we have to define the Facebook username, and then we have to choose a connection. That means what exactly we want to connect. What exactly we want to connect here. That means we want to import comments, feeds, friends, games, likes, movies, music, permissions, posts, television, or we want to go for some custom data set here, right? We can simply choose the pointer that means which we want to import, directly from the Facebook account here. For example, let's suppose we want to import something for, let's suppose, what shall we import? Let's say we want to import movies, right? So here we can click on OK. Now, as you can see now since we have already connected to our data to our Facebook data here, so here we can see the entire list of all the names, IDs, objects, links, and the creation time being imported here. And again, if we want to import this data as well, we can simply click on load, and this will be loaded as a part of data set as a part of our entire Power BI project. All right, so now currently we have imported the entire data set here. Now, if we want to start generating reports here, now we want to start generating reports, right? So you're focusing on the bar charts and column charts here. Suppose if we want to create some bar and column charts, and we have now in this entire section for right section, do have visualization tool where we can choose the report type that we want to generate. For example, we have the stacked bar chart. We have the bar chart, right? So we have stacked column charts here. Then we have stacked bar chart, right? Clustered bar chart. Then we have the clustered column chart. Then we have different stacked bar charts. We have the 100% stacked column chart. So we have multiple bar charts available as a part of our hands-on that we can get started with. For example, in here we want to create this chart here. We can simply use this chart box here. We can get the blank report available to us, right? Now, if we wish to generate reports on top of it, right? Then here we have to define multiple access, legend, value, tooltips, and so on. For example, let's say here we want to create data. Suppose say we want to create data we want to use countries as for example, countries, or let's do one thing. Let's say if we want to use as a part of access, we want to use product. For example, we want to use product as a part of the axis here. And then in terms of value, we want to simply showcase the value for profit here as a part of values here. Now, as you can see here, now here we have generated a simple stack bar chart where we have the list of different products. So that means we are showcasing profit by product. That means here we have the list of products. The Espacio, we have VTT, we have Enabler, we have Velo, Montana, and then we can see the profit being generated by these different brands altogether, being arranged as a part of stacked bar chart, right? And same way now in here we have the stack chart, right? Where you can use these stack charts. Then we have line charts and area charts. We can use this to mainly for plotting the growth, for showcasing the growth, how exactly the growth has been, whether positive or whether negative here, right? What has been the downfall and uphills for any particular growth data, right? So for that part, again, we do have the growth chart available, right? So here we can simply use the line chart. For example, if you want to convert the same report into line chart, we can do that. Or if you want to insert a new line chart report here, we can simply choose the entire new line chart growth here, right? And in here, same way, we can define the axis, legends, and values. For example, let's say we want to showcase, now here in terms of the axis here, we want to showcase, we want to use year, right? We want to use year. And now if we want to showcase, this as a part of unit sold here, then we can, in terms of values, we can define the unit sold, right? So as you can see here, currently we have data only available for 2 years, that is 2013 and 14, and we can see there has been a steep increase in the number of units sold here, correct? Now if we want to also define the entire list of profit as well, right? We can also add profit as a part of value as well, right? So here we can see now this is a division in the amount of units sold, and this is the depiction of the profit being shared by that particular unit sold in that particular year itself. That means from 2013 to 2014 itself as a part of line chart, that we can use as a part of report generation in Power BI. Next is we have the line charts and area charts where we can basically use for graphically quantitative data here. Right? If you want to showcase these data as a part of quantitative data, then we can simply use the area chart as well. Same way like we have been doing the pie charts here, right? And moreover, if we wish to customize the entire reports as well, now this is how we have generated the entire reports here. If we wish to customize these reports further, what we can do, we can simply go to this tab here called as design. And in here, we can choose the entire configuration. We can say customization available for the design and pattern. For example, we want to, now in terms of general here, we can simply define the x-axis. We can define the line height, the width of the report here. We can choose among the current data colors, as in suppose here we wish to showcase something, the color in terms of orange here, right? We can change the color itself, right? Suppose in here, now we want to also showcase one clustered chart here. For example, if we want to show some kind of cluster chart, right? Again, in here we can choose the axis and legends altogether. For example, in here we want to choose the axis as year, and we want to showcase the, okay, let's not choose year here. Let's choose the same thing as products, and we want to choose the, in terms of value, units sold, and then in terms of the profit, we also want to add profit as a part of units here. As you can see, now we have the entire division here. And same way, if we want to customize the entire color scheme as well, we can simply go ahead and do that. For example, in here, we want to use a color scheme of, suppose, say, a shade of purple. And then if you want to use a shade or suppose yellow, right? So depending upon our use case here, we can choose the entire list. We can choose the entire report of how exactly we want this to be generated, right? So we can have complete customization based on borders, on log aspect ratio, if you want to add backgrounds, if you want to add title, if you want to define the data labels as well, we can choose accordingly, right? So what is a legend entries? Legends are basically, suppose we want to describe different types of data set that we can use legends. Then we can use legends in those cases and those scenarios. For example, let's say here we have pie chart, right? Here we have a pie chart, or suppose we have pie chart, donut, or tree maps, right? For example, if we come back, now here we have something as, suppose donut chart. For example, or suppose let's say here we have simple pie chart. Let's create a pie chart here. And now if we wish to showcase the division in terms of country, right? So in terms of legends, we have added country here, as in we are depicting multiple data pointers based on the countries as a part of legend, so that anyone can understand, okay, what is being shared here. Okay, that means blue color refers to Canada, this dark purple refers to France, this orange color refers to Germany, purple refers to Mexico, and pink refers to USA, right? And now if you said, if now in terms of values, now if you want to showcase the profit being generated by each and every country here, right? Can we see this? Correct. So now here we can get the entire reports that being generated here, right? Suppose in terms of profit, or suppose let's say we want to showcase this as a part of units sold, right? So here we can see the entire list here, correct? So how exactly the profit and the entire report has been. Suppose we want to showcase it as a part of complete graph here. So here we can see here. So here we can focus on multiple industry verticals. Like for example, in USA, here we no, here the US represents this amount of data here. Then we have for Canada, how much for France, how much for Germany. And can you all see this? As soon as we are selecting any particular data pointers here, the reports for each and every type of charts that we have currently designed, the data is being changed for each and every pointers here, correct? That means here we are referring to the reports only from that particular legend that we are currently focusing on, right? So this is how the entire concept for the Power BI also works here as a part of the entire dashboard creation here, right? So we can have a complete control on how exactly we want to generate data, in which format we want to generate it, how we want to customize it as well. Same way if we want to generate something as a tree map, right? For example, let's do one thing. Let's make it a bit shorter. Now, let's suppose here we want to generate a tree map here, right? Let's remove one of the pointers here, not a problem in that. So now let's suppose here we want to also generate a simple tree map, right? Tree map simply refers to, suppose if we want to showcase, so in a high level scenario here, we want to showcase which one is having the highest division or not, right? Suppose here we have simple tree map to showcase. Now again, we can have the groups, the details, and the values. For example, in here we want to showcase this as a part of countries, and now we want, in terms of values, we want to showcase the amount of gross sales. So as you can see here, in terms of gross sales here, we can see these 4 different countries are having the same value, and then we have Mexico. Again, if you want to create multiple numbers for gross sales and for, suppose, unit sales here, we can also add this as a value. That means here we can define the actual value set here. That means how much of items has been sold here, how much of data set has been shown here, right? So in terms of profit, in terms of profit, we can say profitability for these different data sets here, correct? As a part of entire tree map. And now if suppose say now if we wish to import, we wish to simply export this report that we have currently created, then what we can do, we can simply click on file. And now suppose if we wish to import this report here, we can simply click on export. Now if we want to export this as a part of template that we can use for further purposes, we can simply do that, right? Or suppose if we wish to save this entire report here, we wish to simply save this as template, we can simply go ahead and create that, right? And now suppose let's say if we wish to publish this part here, we wish to simply export this report as a part of PDF, we can simply come back to file, and in here we have export to PDF. And a simple PDF will be created here with the entire report that we have currently generated automatically using Power BI, right? And same way, suppose if we have multiple pages, for example, in this page, we create another report. For example, in here, we create another report. For example, here we create a simple donut chart here. So now in donut chart, suppose here we want to create this as a part of legends. We want to add country. And in terms of, suppose profit, in terms of value, we want to add profit.